spoilers, massive spoilers, and probably offensive content to come.
We are Carlos and Dave Anime Rave. We are the best anime review reaction show on the internet. Find us at animerave.xyz. Today, we are going to talk about the first season of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, the reboot of the original She-Ra for Netflix. And I gotta tell you, I had nothing but fun with this season. I told you this earlier when we were in the car driving around. To me, this show is kind of like 1 part original She-Ra, 2 parts Steven Universe, 1 part Voltron, and a little tiny dash of Yuki Yuna. Just a little tiny dash, specifically in the backstory of She-Ra, of the last She-Ra. And it all led to a combination that I thought was absolutely delightful. I love how it looks, I love how it sounds, I love the voice acting, I love the dialogue. There are apparently confirmed LGBT characters, aka every single character. There's complex dynamic relationships between heroes and villains who are legitimately hurt by one another. It has just been lovely. I love everything about it.
They de-Skeletored, well, all of the villains, and that's always a nice thing to say, because really, I mean, let's face what She-Ra was originally. It was simply He-Man, but with a female version.
Yeah, it was.
There wasn't many original ideas behind He-Man to begin with, and then they just made one that appealed to girls.
Even then, I always found She-Ra super appealing, just because, here's the thing. There's all this bullshit backlash against a new show by angry, mostly white, mostly male nerds who need to shut the fuck up. But, this show is easily better than the original. I don't think the original She-Ra is a bad show compared to He-Man. They're both...
No, don't. I didn't mean it was bad compared to He-Man.
Yeah, sorry.
He-Man was a bad cartoon.
She-Ra was better.
But both of them did the exact same thing. They
sure.
reused animations to fucking death.
Yes, the point I was going to make was that they're kind of both cut from the same cloth. Ultimately, yes. Your average She-Ra episode was about the same as your average He-Man episode. Mm-hmm. But what She-Ra had the benefit of was the fact that it was a sequel series. True. Which meant that it could occasionally have Skeletor trying to destroy Hordak and She-Ra having to fight Skeletor. Or He-Man She-Ra crossover episodes, which were often the best episodes of the show, I think. Not because it's He-Man helping She-Ra, but because the two of them together just have... it was just fun to see 2 childhood heroes versus 2 childhood villains, really.
And another reason why those were the better episodes is because they had to have fighting animation of both of them at the same time, they couldn't reuse the animation of the regular show.
They couldn't reuse as much.
They couldn't reuse as much, yes. But, I mean, yes, the hero side, way, way better than it was in the old days.
Oh, yeah.
But the villains are so much better than they ever were back in the days of He-Man and She-Ra. I mean, Hordak. We saw him like maybe 3 to 5 times throughout the entire thing, heard him a bunch more, but the fact that he isn't aware or was the main, didn't capture Adora from Eternia as a twin to Adam and all that stuff. They threw that right out. He's completely oblivious to that, which is great. Made Hordak automatically better because he wasn't the whiny version of Skeletor for She-Ra where he realized he fucked up, that he had lost control of his planned plaything kind of. That was always annoying in the old She-Ra stuff.
Yeah, they kind of moved that motivation over to Shadow Weaver here.
Yes.
I do like that Eternia is just hinted at a little bit. But yeah, you know what? Let's talk about the characters individually, because I think this show warrants that. So let's start with Hordak, like you just did. Yeah, I agree with you completely. Hordak almost seems like a more capable Zarkon from the new Voltron show. And by the way, I'm not fueling the apparent Voltron versus She-Ra fanbase war. They're both fantastic shows. Why are you fighting? Just watch both. They're both great.
Yeah.
Stop fighting.
Netflix animation shows have been stellar. Let's not fight all these good shows by saying, well, mine's better than yours, or yours stole from... Fuck off! They all stole from each other!
We have to get to Legend, Quest, and Troll Hunters eventually.
Oh, God. Yeah.
What I like about Hordak is that the several times he appeared, his lines were succinct, his lines were dripping with his character, and he made decisions that were in line with what you think an evil He-Man kind of villain would make.
But without doing the whole cheesy villain trope they were always doing. And yeah, I'm going to jump right to the final episode kind of thing for this, but the way that Hordak acted when Catra stood up to him and basically told him that I've done more for your forces and we've made more advancements than you've made in years, to kind of, put off the fact that she had just failed. And the way that Hordak reacted to that, he's like, you're right.
Yeah, basically, correct.
Without quoting him. His reaction was, well,
to reward her.
You're right, and because of the advancements you've made, not that you just failed and therefore fuck you and you're demoted and everything else. No, you're promoted.
Yeah.
This is a evil commander that has read the 100 things not to do to my second in command.
This might be... I'm not sure if this is going to end up being a relevant comparison. I hope it is. But he gave me Admiral Thrawn vibes.
A little bit.
Just a little bit of standing back, making the correct decisions, and always having this air like he was in control, without needing to have this iron fist about it, even though he definitely is an iron-fisted ruler, right?
Yeah.
No, Hordak was good for like the main villain eventually. He wasn't really the main villain of this season.
No.
I would say the main antagonist of this season is Shadow Weaver and then eventually Catra.
Yes.
But I mean, Hordak will become that, probably, unless he dies very quickly into the second season, gets Queen Barreled in the first episode, but I doubt that.
I doubt they're going to do that for him because they haven't set up anything for that to happen. That would be out of character at this point. Like, even Catra wouldn't, the way that she is right now, she wouldn't betray him by trying to get rid of him because he hasn't given her any reason to do that. He hasn't shown that he's weak or anything else. Now, if he showed that he was a weak commander and everything else, I could see a second in command like Catra saying, something, I can do better. You're gone.
While we're on the topic of Catra, let's talk about Catra next. Wow. Let's talk about most improved character from original to now. Wow. Is probably Catra. Now, she was kind of destined to be, since they basically made her the Zuko of the show.
Yes.
And she still is very much the Zuko. I absolutely love Catra's arc in this season. It is a perfectly believable villain arc. There was you could tell that she wanted to rise up the ranks with Adora. Adora was a presence that left her for reasons that Catra felt were absolutely bullshit. Got new friends, which obviously hurt Catra because she thought that she was the only person who mattered to Adora. And then eventually getting to the point where she's willing to hurt and kill Adora. And I believe all of this because these are very, pardon the incorrect word here, but these are very human things to feel. And it echoes a lot of Zuko, a lot of this struggle. Like, Catra really, the goodness inside her is that she loves Adora, right? And I doubt that has actually changed. I think deep down she still absolutely does. The issue is that she's very conflicted because Adora hurt her inadvertently, and Adora certainly made the right call joining the rebellion from a moral standpoint. but there was a casualty, and that was Catra. In a very, like, had things shaken had things turned out differently, it could have been Adora and Catra on the side of the rebellion. It could have been just Catra, for all we know.
I'm glad the way they handled it, because even though Adora still very much has feelings for Catra,
we totally agree that there is a romantic subtext.
There's romantic subtext between most of these characters.
God, I love Bo.
I mean, it's not a triangle shape. This is like a fucking diamond with things going all over the place.
This is a love dodecahedron.
Oh, easily.
Cadra's like, I kind of like this Glimmer girl, and I've talked to her once.
But I mean, Adora's journey here and finding out that the Horde was the bad guys. Catra was kind of like, and?
Yeah, Catra's like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, like,
we live in the fright zone. like, you didn't figure that out yet?
But we're destroying innocent people's homes, and?
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's kind of like, pardon? Just, like if there had been a discussion, like, you knew?
Yeah, and that's where the Zukoing comes from, because okay, in my heart, I want Catra to join the rebellion and be happy with Adora. But that wouldn't work, would it? That maybe that would appease me short term, but it wouldn't make sense for her character at all.
No.
Her character needs, like, I'm glad we got those flashbacks. She needed to see that perhaps in this weird demented way. Yeah, Adora, she said it herself, Adora leaving was the best thing for her. It was this attachment that she got to let go, right? Even though I don't think she's fully let go just yet. The fact is that the Adora-Catra relationship is, like Noelle Stevenson, in forming this cornerstone, deeply complex, deeply human relationship with Adora and Catra. We have the cornerstone for, I think Stevenson said that she has 4 seasons of content.
Wow.
And now Netflix has not yet confirmed they're going to bring it back for a second season. They damn well fucking better. Because this is one of the better animated series I've seen ever. But forming that cornerstone relationship really was brilliant, because that lets you put a human face to the villains. Mm-hmm. And it is one of the big ways that She-Ra and the Princess of Power greatly improves on the villains. These are really well-rounded villains. Even when they seem like the cackling evil sort, they have character and depth, which is fantastic.
And a great amount of diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we'll touch upon that again soon enough, but yeah, I like that. The characters all look different. They're different shapes and sizes and skin tones and colors, and none of them, not a single fat joke in this entire season. Like Glimmer was definitely heavier set, but there were never a fat joke at her expense. And I absolutely adore that. Haha.
I think for Catra to join the rebellion and come over to Adora's side, she's going to have to come from a position of strength.
Kind of like Zuko did. Zuko didn't join the gang, as they're called, because it was the right thing to do. He did it because it was the best way to protect his kingdom.
Yes, but I think more with Catra, she's going to have to come with her own forces. Her own group at that point.
I saw several people on social media say that the best way for Catra to rebel, should that be her arc, would be in a way that doesn't even really join the rebellion, because she'd want to do it her own way, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens with Catra. I like the fact that they've set her up as still having those feelings, but doing things her own way. I like that. The fact that she's willing to take chances and doesn't give 2 shits about authority.
Oh yeah, Catra is anti-authoritarian to the max.
Very much so. And Hordak realizes that in dealing with her. Mm-hmm. Give her the space, And holy crap, she's getting results.
Yeah. Speaking of someone who didn't get results, we can talk about Shadow Weaver.
Was Shadow... Now, okay, I did not really watch much of She-Ra as a kid. I didn't have cable, so...
Blasphemer!
Not something I really caught other than the occasional VHS tape.
It's okay. There was a lot of elements that I had to re-look up again.
So, I'm guessing Shadow Weaver was originally in there as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's just generic Hordak villain.
Okay.
She definitely has a character name that's one of them, Shadow Weaver. Easily the character names aren't really original when it comes to He-Man and She-Ra, are they?
Oh, come on! It's just shape and color.
Yeah, noun. Yeah, her character here is interesting because she's definitely conniving and manipulative, but also rather insecure, and it unravels spectacularly. She's set up as kind of our main antagonist of the season, our Grand Moff Tarkin to Darth Vader, who would become the villain later. And the way things work out for her is that they kind of don't. Her cruelty and her lack of faith in Catra and her obsession with Adora as this chosen child of Eternia, which we're no doubt going to find out more about in the second season, blows up in her face.
Literally.
Yeah, and she ends up getting usurped by Catra in spectacular fashion. I doubt we're done with Shadow Weaver, though. I'm pretty sure that her story has yet to conclude.
Well, now she has a revenge arc against Catra.
Mm-hmm. Or perhaps even a redemption arc. She used to be Light Spinner of the Magic Kingdom, and here's the thing, we're not entirely sure the circumstances of her being banished. She might have had every reason to be mad with them.
It's over the whole dark magic thing.
How do you go from Light Spinner to Shadow Weaver? I mean, yeah.
They told us that.
Yeah, she experiments with dark magic.
She started to fuck with dark magic, started going evil, and they got rid of her.
I mean, in WoW, priests can be light or shadow. Anduin Urin can bust out his void form from time to time. So, I mean, and he's the good guy of that universe right now, so... Scorpia. Oh god, I love Scorpia so much. Oh, when she appears, you're like, oh my god, cool. I'm warning you, I'm a hugger. And I'm like, really? That's great. I love Scorpia so much. I love how she's such a girly girl, but still very much this big, formidable hench person that the good guys constantly hit their heads against, right? We were reminded, no, she works for the fucking Horde. But the fact that she's so personable and just lovable while in the ranks of the Horde, again, it adds depth to our villains.
Well, and it's also the first princess that we know of that outright joined the Horde.
Yeah, her kingdom was taken, and they just kind of made a bargain. Take our crystal, and we'll join you. And yeah, but I kind of like that. She says she didn't really fit in with the other princesses, which shows that even though this show gives us a lot of diversity in terms of character, like body types and shapes and skin tones and whatnot, there's still a little bit of prejudice. And I could totally see someone like Scorpia being kind of shunned because, oh god, she's gross. She's all muscly and has scorpion pincers and a tail. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I see why the Horde, she joined the Horde willingly. Like, I also like how jazzed she was for the princess ball. It's like, you got an invitation. Yeah, I'm a princess. You. Can we talk about Catra's awesome suit in the ball? And that fucking dance scene with Adora that was dripping with fucking, like, venom and anger and connivingness and wit and romance and so many things, so many emotions. Can we talk about that real quick?
You just did.
Oh, okay. All right. Entrapta was
an interesting character.
Now, she was a villain in the original. And she was actually Catra's minion, as far as I remember. So the fact that she turned or didn't, you have some thoughts on this, and is now directly working under Catra is fairly faithful to the original. At the same time, it shows that Catra has a bit of charisma. She actually has a lot of charisma. She can sway people to her way of thinking.
Yeah, like, I've read a bunch of stuff where people are like, well, and Drapta basically betrayed the rebellion and everything else. I don't think she sees it like that. I think she sees herself basically, she's not part of the rebellion. She's not part of anything. She is simply there, or wherever she wants to be, as a researcher. She is a knowledge-seeking techno dweeb.
Would you call Entrapta chaotic neutral?
Very much so. And it says a lot that at the end of the episode where they meet her and help her take down the plague crystal that even managed to hurt Adora.
Somehow!
Well,
I see why it hit the sword, but come on.
She's linked to it, though.
I guess. It did lead to a bunch of funky Adora lines, which is great.
We have to remember that Adora isn't necessarily fully human.
This is true. She's no mere mortal, really.
She is ultimately a human / ancient hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, because she is partly based on ancient tech, if you will, it makes sense that a plague crystal that affects ancient tech would affect her.
Okay.
And I thought it was adorable how it affected her.
Adorable?
I wasn't going with a pun for that.
Yes, you were. You always are.
Some sneak out that aren't puns. Or aren't meant to be puns. I admit when they aren't meant to be puns.
Fuck you, Dave.
But other than that, yeah, I don't... The only part there I kind of see as a betrayal is the fact that she went right back to working on that crystal, even after it had hurt Adora.
It does kind of make you believe that after she felt she was abandoned by the princesses, she just starts working for the next person who offers her a chance to work. She's a workaholic, really. And that's not a good thing, but that's who she is.
I think the moment Catra puts her in a direct position where Entrapta sees that she's actually going to hurt one of the rebellion directly with her actions, I think that's where we're going to start to see her realize that she's actually part of something that's hurting people.
I mean, there's a bit of a misunderstanding going on, too. Entrapta is not aware that the rebellion thought she was dead. Similarly, the rebellion doesn't know that Entrapta is still quite alive.
Mm-hmm.
And the cause of the stuff that happened in the last couple episodes to boot.
So, I might as well mention this now since we're talking about her, but I think what Adora did at the end of the final episode.
Well, we can talk about Adora next, so let's jump to Adora.
Okay. So, for Adora, Adora's character is great. I mean, she's definitely naive at first.
Giant dweeb,
absolutely. She was, totally mind fucked as far as being on the right side. I mean, the way that they brainwash their recruits with how they're fighting the constructs, the princesses, it was a dark area, dark powers are being used, everything else, that was perfect for how to brainwash your soldiers.
I like that Adora and Shira remind me of... they have a loose connection to the stereotypical fantasy paladin, in that they are ultimately good people, but they can also be swayed to doing the wrong thing under the premise of it being good. And Adora definitely starts that way, and then starts to realize the folly and becomes a true paladin in the end. One thing I absolutely love about Adora is that First of all, I like that Adora and Shira are not secret identity things anymore. Everybody pretty much knows that Adora and Shira are the same person. They don't need... Because why did they hide it in the original anyway? In the original, Bo did not know that Adora was Shira. May I ask why Bo was not privy to this information?
It was the same reason why Adam and He-Man were meant to be kept secret there as well. Is the sorceress told them that by revealing who they are, they put their friends and family in even greater danger.
Sure, I guess, but in Shira it made less sense because of the rebellion nature of things. Like, we know that Adora and Shira are part of the rebellion. We know they look exactly the same. Who are they fooling?
But even there, it was still meant to make sure there wasn't a central point of attack.
I guess it's so funny because the new show She-Ra makes a point of making She-Ra very different from Adora, quite a bit taller, quite a bit different, like body tone and shape, and yet there's no secret identity here where it totally would have fit because she looks so different, right? Still though, Adora is a fantastic character. I absolutely love how she's taking the She-Ra thing. I love that she doesn't want to be this kind of global pillar. She wants to help her friends. Mm-hmm. I love that she has had to learn so many things she didn't know about before. What a horse is. What an aunt is. Like an aunt in terms of aunt and uncle. What true friendship really was, even though she arguably had that with Catra. In a naive way, she thought Catra would come with her. And in a way, that kind of shows how she views Catra. There are feelings there, but there's definitely an air of superiority that maybe she doesn't even realize.
And you're right there, but I think that kind of points out that the naivety of Adora, because Adora actually thought that when she revealed that the Horde were the bad guys and they were destroying innocent lives, that Catra would be all shocked and automatically join her. Well, no, she knew, but Catra was also... She was the rebel within their little training group. She was obviously going out and learning way more than Adora knew, and was fine with the fact they were the bad guys.
In another bit of irony, and another reason why this show is brilliant, if you had no idea who Adora and Catra were from the original series, Catra is the one who, like you said, demonstrates your typical rebel traits. And Adora is the more inline, stoic, zealot type, right? So it's a bit shocking that they end up on the sides they end up, but completely believable. Adora's fantastic. I absolutely love her design. And the She-Ra design. I love how she's a little wary of these responsibilities because of seeing what happened with the previous She-Ra, who was Mara.
Oh, and that was... I was not expecting the level of conformity that was going to be demanded of her for her training.
This is why I said this show, in addition to all those parts, it has a little sprinkle of Yuki Yuna. It has a little sprinkle of the magical girl soldier thing where being a magical girl kind of sucks. And they showed it with Mara. Mara couldn't handle it. She snapped, which is what Adora said. And that's why She-Ra was gone for so many years, because Mara couldn't take it. Something happened to this transformation. And when they showed the flashback and they showed Mara's face, there's a genuine, like, sadness to her. Like, she's resigned to this. And I'm like, wow, that is fairly heavy. I know people have been saying that the new She-Ra is more for children. I know people like me will say, well, not really. It's more an all ages thing. That still hit me pretty hard. When I saw that, it struck me in the heart. There was an arrow in my heart from that scene. Cause I was remembering stuff like Togo and Yuki Yuna, remembering that, realizing that she can't die. They'll never be allowed to kill themselves. They must always be in service. And that was before the happy ending happened, but still a little bit of that. And yeah, it is shocking to see. I'm interested to see how Adora handles that.
I think it's going to be worse. Now, do you think that Adora is going to actually train with
Light Hope?
With Light Hope?
Fucking names, man.
I don't think that would be the best for her. Because, yeah, she wanted to know the healing, to be able to heal so she could heal her friend. But they were talking years, number one. And two, it was like, you're going to do it our way, and you can't have friends. You can't have attachments. They're trying to turn her into kind of like a monk warrior kind of thing. No attachments, no nothing. Kind of like the Airbenders from Airbender.
See, this is why I've said this idea before, that I kind of want to see He-Man introduced, and a plot twist being that He-Man's actually evil. It would be interesting to see He-Man and Skeletor in league, and that being the future villain. Because in a way, it's a little jarring, a little villainous, just how much conformity Light Hope expects of the She-Ra. The She-Ra is not supposed to have friends. The She-Ra is supposed to do her fucking job, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at, if this is indeed a system where there is supposed to be a He-Man and a She-Ra on these two sister worlds, Eternia and Etheria, then the idea being that if He-Man has conformed to this and taken it into a military bend, there's a certain malevolence behind these powers, behind the first ones and what they're doing. And whether or not that idea happens, or if He-Man is even introduced, I'm okay. I told you before, I'm okay if He-Man just isn't a thing in this universe.
Oh, I agree.
But the fact is, the first ones, there's a certain malevolence to them that I'm pretty sure will be itself a villainous force that She-Ra has to conquer, right?
Well, and you have to remember that the reason why Etheria is where it is, like Etheria and the planets around it are actually trapped in a negative zone, basically.
Yeah, they did very subtle hints at Eternia and what came before.
Yeah,
we weren't given too much.
They told us that Mara was the reason why these planets are in its own space-time zone. It's not where it's supposed to be, and that was Mara's fault.
Sure. Well, if we want to be real technical, it's Light Hope's fault, but
yeah,
Mara wouldn't have done it if they just fucking
had
some fucking work-life balance behind the She-Ra.
And we actually got a little hint of that every time that Adora has come to the temple. What's happened? If she's there alone, things are okay, but the moment it detects somebody else, instantly tries to wipe them out.
Yeah, and she can't override it.
Even though she's there.
She can't override it at all. The last thing I'll say about Adora is I like that she is quite formidable outside of the She-Ra form. And I like that there have been episodes where she hasn't had to transform to win the day or to fight the villain. I like when she first meets Glimmer and Bo, they still can't beat her 2-on-1, even though she has not transformed yet. Like, she kicks the crap out of both of them. Like,
I like how quickly they were able to open up to Adora.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they saw, the fact that she had She-Ra. I mean, yeah, it was half an episode that it took them to realize that, she wasn't a bad person after they, saw her reactions to the Horde destroying that town.
Well, Bo had opened up almost right away. Bo saw that Adora was just a confused kid.
Yeah.
Glimmer took a while longer.
And I love the challenge that Adora went through this season in finding acceptance.
Yeah.
Because the final scene they had for Adora there with Glimmer's mom, putting out her hand and asking her to join them in the little hug that happened there.
And then Swiftwind joined them too.
And I thought that was just adorable because that's when she transforms back from She-Ra into Adora, having found that acceptance not as She-Ra but as herself is just fantastic. Yeah. I also love the fact that she can be powered up by the more princesses on her side.
Yeah, every princess has a synergy. a Diablo 2 style synergy to her abilities.
The whole Horde being smacked aside by the gateway was awesome.
Mermista. I listened to an episode of Spontaneous Nation recently, and the special guest that Paul F. Tompkins was talking to was the voice of Mermista. I don't remember her name. Sorry, voice of Mermista. And she's
1 second. I can tell you.
Sure, look that up as I call.
Everything here right now, so you might as well. That's
Go ahead. What's her name?
Mermista is voiced by Vela Lovell.
Vela Lovell, great name, by the way. Yeah, and I can as she was talking to Paul F. Tompkins about TV shows they would watch as a kid that they hid from their parents, and about children who swear at them and how funny they think that a child swearing is. I totally, when I was listening, I'm like, she sounds familiar. And then before she left, she gave her plug, and I'm like, yeah, I voice a mermaid on the new She-Ra show. And I'm like, she's Mermista!
The one that I was surprised to see show up at the end, but still happy, was the Ice Princess.
Oh yeah, what the fuck was her name? Dave, you want to look that up for me while you're at the...
I need a starting point, though, first. Like, what was her name?
It's probably Frozina or something like that.
Frosta. Princess Frosta.
Of course it was fucking Frosta. These were names from the 80s, folks. So, can we move on to Bo and Glimmer, or more about Adora?
Oh, when you talk about those two characters, you can't help but talk more about Adora. So let's pass on to that.
Okay, let's jump to Bo first. I never hated Bo in the original.
Knows.
I remember, like, obviously being a kid and being around stupid, toxic boys. Everyone thought that Bo was so gay with his heart. And looking back to it, the original Bo was super hella gay. And maybe the reason I started to question my sexuality, even at a young age. Bo was an okay character in the original. I like how confident he was in his absolutely ridiculous outfit. And New Bo is an absolutely worthy update. I love New Bo. Everyone loves Bo. I want to give Bo all the hugs. I want as many hearts on my outfit as Bo has on his. He has hearts on the bottom of his fucking shoes. Did you see that? I like that Bo is first of all, I like that he's in on the Adora She-Ra thing. I absolutely think the hero trio of Adora, Glimmer, Bo is super good. I think these characters play off each other wonderfully. They're an absolutely great trio to kind of base Adora in, right? I like that. Bo is this super accepting, super friendly sort. Always has the good advice. Super brave. Is the Hawkeye or the Green Arrow with all the trick arrows. And yet, there's a lot of questions we have about Bo that haven't been answered yet that I like. Like, I remember reading that Bo may or may not be transgender, and if Bo is a transgender man, absolute thumbs up, because we need more transgender representation in fiction. The fact that Bo's heart symbol glowed when all the princesses were together lead me to believe that maybe he is transgender and is a princess, or was. Because Bo does not appear to have a home, really. He kind of just hangs out with Glimmer in their kingdom's, I forget the name of their kingdom, in their kingdom's castle. And one time Glimmer's mom told him he had to go home. Where the hell is his home?
Whispering Woods.
Yeah, it's the Whispering Woods, but there's a lot about Bo we don't know.
Sure.
We really just know that his interactions with Adora, Glimmer, and the rest. My voice is fading fast. Holy shit. But yeah, absolutely awesome update to the character. He and Glimmer gained quite a bit of importance in this update. And yeah, I absolutely love the trio. And I guess while we're at it, we can include Glimmer here too. I love Glimmer so much. I love her attitude. I love this way her hair sparkles. I love her teleporting. I love how she's both cute and fierce and courageous and dumb, all rolled up into a little ball of lovely. And again, I love that she's heavier set without a single fat joke made at her expense. I ship Adora and Glimmer together.
Well, I think that's really easy to do because there's a love triangle there happening. Well, kind of. Because it's obvious that Adora has feelings for Glimmer. Bo obviously has feelings for Glimmer.
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think he has romantic feelings.
I think that was very obvious, and even Glimmer and Bo were coming to accept that by the end. I thought that was very obvious.
I don't know. Bo way too easily wanted to hang out with Perfuma and asked her to the prom. I don't think there was anything disingenuine about that. even Glimmer's reaction to it was more that Glimmer was losing a bit of a friend. It never struck me as romantic.
Okay.
That said, I think there's a lot more romantic tension between Adora and Glimmer than there are between Glimmer and Bo.
Except, okay, to me at least, watching it, Glimmer looked like she'd been shot in the heart when Bo went with somebody else, and his apology to her, and they're kind of making up there with him apologizing to Glimmer, but Glimmer then saying, no, you shouldn't have to apologize for this sort of thing, for being with a friend. It came across very, throughout the whole show, as Bo is totally into Glimmer, and Glimmer knows it, and by the end, she's coming more and more into accepting it, but also realizing she has feelings for Adora.
Well, I'm going to say something you say often, and that's agree to disagree on this.
Yeah.
With the caveat that it's good to have these kind of subjective, different thoughts about these characters. Obviously, many ships work in the context of the show. So,
It's also funny how in the final episode, after they get rid of the Hordak's forces there, you can kind of tell who's hooking up with who in that final segment.
Can you really, though?
Yes.
Okay, we're not talking about obvious ones like Netosa and Spinnerella, who, by the way, were totally an item in the original show, too.
Okay.
Those two were super lovey-dovey, even in the original She-Ra.
Okay, yeah.
I love how Bo doesn't know what they do. We don't even know what they do. They're just around. You still don't know what we do you? I make nets.
And you're right. Those two were obvious from minute one. they kind of, they're always there together. They're always, when they fight, they're together. That's the obvious ones.
Look, Glimmer and Bo hooking up wouldn't be the end of the world. I absolutely think that if there's a show that's going to give me some canon LGBT relationships, that the new She-Ra is one of them.
Yeah.
And even though I like the She-Ra Glimmer pair, or the Adora Glimmer pair, if Catra comes around and we have Catra Dora, as it's being called online, giddy up. I'm fine there too. Oh god, I derailed this into ships.
But that is a part of the show, and that whole, it is going to be a Glimmer, Adora, Catra triangle.
Speaking of ships, let's talk about Seahawk.
Oh god.
Seahawk!
Or as I wanted to call him at the very beginning, we basically got our Han Solo archetype right there.
Our non-solo.
Really?
Seahawk was great. Next character.
Seahawk was great. And do you think that there's something between him and Princess Mermista?
Yeah, that one's totally obvious.
Yeah.
That one is, if I'm okay with that being the only heterosexual relationship in this show, because I love how they play off each other. Can we talk about how Mermista sounds like she's done with everyone's shit all the time?
I know, it was great. I mean, she was just not into anything, but then when she comes and helps them later, she's like, yeah, sorry, the scene was kind of crap. Yeah, no, I like Mermista's character. I like the way that that she and Seahawk play off of each other. I love the fact that Seahawk seems to have a thing about blowing up his ship.
Yes, and he even did it in the last episode. He said a flaming ship. How many ships does he have to set on fire? He has he does to ships what I wish I could have done to command bases in StarCraft. Long story short, inside joke. I hated that flying your command structure over enemies didn't make it blow up and fall on top of them. And Seahawk gets to live a dream I never could.
So yeah, no, that is awesome. And
how many more characters do we have to touch on? I think we covered all the majors. We can go to the minors now, right? Doesn't Kyle need a hug? Doesn't Kyle need a fucking hug?
We did kind of skip over one character.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Other than the I forget her name. I think it was Flutterina, or The
flower girl?
The flower girl.
Perfuma, right?
Perfuma. Thank you.
I think it was Perfuma. Again, great 80s names.
Great 80s names, yeah. No. I liked her episode just for the whole She-Ra empowering the people to fight for themselves.
I also like that she realized that being able to spontaneously grow plants is a devastating weapon.
Yeah. But we've skipped over one important one.
Oh, yeah?
How about Queen Glimmer's mom?
What's her name? I always knew her as Glimmer's mom. What was their kingdom called, even? Why don't I remember what their kingdom was? Okay, Bright Moon.
Queen Angela.
Really? Really, of all the characters, she has a normal name? She's Angela? Fuck you. I do like that she's a conflicted mom. She wants She-Ra, she wants to believe in Adora, she wants to protect Glimmer, she wants to do it in both the right and wrong way.
Episode 3 cemented my love for Queen Angela, just because...
Dave, make it slightly less obvious you looked at a screen to remember the name.
Not at all. Because when Adora is there talking with her, and the Queen's talking about, how she lost her husband, and Adora's like, I'm sorry for bringing it up. And then she's like, I'm putting a lot of faith in you because of my daughter. Don't let me down.
Yeah.
That conversation's like, yeah, you just had a horde person come along to be your savior, and you do not fucking trust them. That is totally a conversation I would have. Again, just the whole invite at the end just kind of solidified, welcome.
Mm-hmm. Kyle needs a hug. Kyle needs a hug so bad. Poor the stupid blonde kid who is working for Hordak, who obviously shouldn't be there. One of the people who trained with Adora. I gave myself a cramp. Give me a sec. Ow, ow, ow. Oh my god, that hurts. Jesus.
Yes?
Hey, can you help me with my cramp, Jesus?
Yeah, sure, I'll kick you in the leg.
Yeah, go ahead. Hurry up. Not where the cramp is, but... I'll kick you in the leg, then in the face. Where's the cramp? Cramp. Oh my god, that hit me so hard.
Actually, it's funny. Kyle's not even listed here.
Yeah, Kyle, do you remember the guy who Bo convinced to tell her, when Bo was captured, Bo convinced him to tell her where Glimmer was? That kid?
Oh, no, I know the kids you're talking about that were on her original training team.
Yeah.
It's just weird that they're not even listed here in the characters. Even the minor characters is not mentioned. Oh, wow. In the original show, King Micah, Queen Angela's husband, was alive.
Huh.
He was captured by the Horde for 15 years. He was tortured.
Brutal.
Until he was finally rescued and reunited with his family. So he's really is dead in the current. So far, we have not met one of the main characters from the original show, actually.
Who's that?
That was Cowl.
There was a Cowl doll in one of the episodes. It's in the Cowl doll is in Glimmer's room. Adora was holding it.
I
don't know if we're gonna meet Cowl,
because a big part of the original series was Bo and Cowl continually fighting, because Cowl was basically their version of an Orko.
Basically, yeah. Madame Raz was another character who, in the original, she knew She-Ra's secret.
Yeah.
And she kind of looked like a weird femme Orko. I like her new update, and I like how she drops hints about Mara. I wish we saw a little bit more of her, but we no doubt will. So, we've talked about characters. Do you want to talk about specific episodes, or... We don't have to go over every one. I asked you earlier what your favorite episode was, and kind of wouldn't mind chatting about that.
Well, other than, the two-parter finale, which sets everything off, my favorite would have to be the revelations they saw on Cloud City.
Now, I'm pretty sure it's not called Cloud City.
I know it's not called Cloud City, but because I do not know the name of the city, I am going to call it Cloud City. And that took place in episode 7, I think?
Yeah, that one's the one where...
The Shadows of Mysticor.
Yeah, Mysticor's place. Shadow Weaver was haunting Adora and making Adora see things. Yeah, that was a pretty good episode. A little bit into Adora's head, a little bit of Shadow Weaver's background. It was nice. Wow, this Krampus can just fuck right off. Seriously. Yeah.
But I mean, for season 1, there was no throwaway episodes. There was no.
I'm fine. Keep talking.
There really was no, well, just throwaway episodes. Everything had a point.
I'm a big fan of the ball. I'm a big fan of the ball because we got so much character development in such a nice setting for it. So much of the subtext, both romantically and otherwise, between a lot of the characters. And it led to some of the big defining elements of the season in the next couple episodes too, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of really angry, mostly male, mostly white dudes are mad about She-Ra because they're really dumb. We don't need to touch upon their reasons because their reasons are bunk. But there is one reason that puzzles me, though. And that's when people are talking about how the old designs were sexier than the new designs. Now, obviously, designs don't gotta be sexy to be good. If the new design She-Ra did not look the way it did, I still think it would be a great show. If it looked like the original and saw all the new writing, it would be a great show too. What I'm confused about is, okay, there are so many dudes talking about how these characters are less attractive than the originals. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Okay.
Have you looked at that? Okay, it's obvious why they're saying it, because they're angry that someone's introducing LGBT elements into a cartoon. That's really why they're mad.
Okay. Hang on. Let me hijack this for a second.
Hijack.
You're talking dudes that went from a teenage/adult kind of body scheme to more of a younger teen.
Use your words, Dave.
Some people found, She-Ra attractive and everything else back then and really liked the designs. That does not mean that they're right in disliking the new designs. But there is nothing wrong with guys looking at the new designs and not being turned on by them.
100% agreed. And I'm glad you hijacked that because that needs to be brought forward. It's like how Dead or Alive 6, they're toning down some of the fan service. Yeah, that's a good move because you don't need it. A developer, whether it's a game developer, whether it's a storyteller, they're allowed to tell a story where they have a lot of sexy characters on the screen. They're also allowed to tell a story where that's not the case. Not even original She-Ra was about sex appeal. That just happened to be the art style. And the fact that the new art style is less of a turn-on for some dudes should not be off-putting. At the very least, these dudes should be like, it's not for me, and just shut the fuck up and leave.
And that's just it is... Look, let's be honest here. You can sexualize anything. And
I'm about to.
And the internet is very good at that with fan art and everything else. These characters have already been put into hentai and pornographic images and everything else, and I'm not going to demonize the people that have done so and like that. Not my thing, but guess what? This happens. It's the reality of the situation. But the people that are being pissed off at the show for not outright fetishizing these characters by putting them in one-piece bodysuits with boob windows and giving them, 18-year-old tits and asses, fuck you.
I agree with you. I was just going to say that, you know what, you touched on this, and I'll say it anyway because I really wanted to. I find the new character designs quite attractive. Like,
they're cute.
The pervert in me finds the new character designs way hotter than the old ones.
The characters to me are cute.
From a non-perverted standpoint, I think they're better designed. From a perverted standpoint, I'm hornier for the new characters than the old. Now, obviously, again, you are absolutely right when you say that shouldn't be a deciding factor. What I'm saying is that if your reasoning is that they're not getting you hard enough, first of all, the show doesn't got to do it. Secondly, What kind of limp dick flaccid penis mongrel are you that you're not getting hard from this? Because I gotta tell you, if the original She-Ra got it up for you, there is nothing in this that shouldn't be doing the same thing. In fact,
I'd like to cut that whole segment right out.
The new cartoon, with its greater emphasis on diversity, means it should be covering all the bases for this.
Yeah.
There's something in here for every pervert. But real talk, you are absolutely right, Dave. Are you really uncomfortable with me saying all that?
No.
Because if you are, I really will cut it out.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Our fans know who you are.
You know what I'm about!
And they know what I'm about, being the voice of reason.
Fuck you, voice of reason. Drop kick you in the fucking nose.
Again, you show why they've voted me to be the most reasonable.
Eat my entire rectum. And with this rectum talk, let me once again say, Noel Stevenson, fantastic reboot. I sincerely hope Netflix greenlights every season you want to make of She-Ra.
Noel Stevenson, can you do me a favor and get the rights to reboot that fucker the right way?
Yes, please. Reboot!
At least I know a show done by you would leave the original idea intact and not destroy what it's meant to be.
Yeah. I love new She-Ra, and I'm going to watch it again. And I don't do that with a lot of things. I don't actually rewatch a lot of things. I will be rewatching She-Ra, probably starting tomorrow.
Looking forward to season 2.
A 3 pie out of 3 pie so far. Can we bring back the 3 pie rating system?
You can for yourself.
What would you give it out of 3 pie?
I like it.
I like it out of 3 pie. Good enough.
Here's the problem with a rating system. Rating systems only piss people off because they may not agree with a half a point you gave it here, half a point you gave it there. Let's just call this a good show and agree that it's worthy of being watched by all age groups.
Well, this is why I like the 3 pie rating system, Dave, because it's 100% bullshit. I struggled, actually, before we finish. I sat down thinking, just as a fun thought experiment, is there anything I could say about the original that was better than the reboot? Even one tiny little thing. And I really couldn't, because the one thing I was going to bring up is that I like the intro to the original better. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, absolutely not. It's just sheer expositing about who she is.
Yeah.
With cool 80s music, and that's not enough. Oh, super disappointed Swiftwind didn't talk. And then he came back and talked, and he was amazing.
Yeah, like, the music is better in this. If I had to really dig deep, I kind of missed that the Sorceress isn't around, but that's more because the link between Eternia and Etheria was Grayskull and the Sorceress. And it's that link that I kind of miss a little bit. But on the other hand, because this doesn't require He-Man, maybe it... Okay, I guess that's something I do have to bring up, though.
Bring it up. The outro, I'm putting it away.
Grayskull.
Yeah.
Was there really any point in even... Now, granted, I mean, this could be done in season 2, 3, 4 kind of thing. This could be the way that they bring in a linking Eternia and Etheria, or bring Etheria back out of the negative zone that it's currently in. Other than a nod to the original, is Grayskull really even necessary? Because she doesn't even go into Grayskull. She goes into her Crystal Palace.
She doesn't even know what Grayskull is.
Exactly. At least when they did the whole movie with She-Ra meeting He-Man and everything else.
You mean the 4-part pilot to She-Ra?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because if you watch the first 4 episodes of She-Ra, it's literally that movie in 4 parts. So it's kind of funny. It starts like a He-Man episode.
So for the pilot / movie, introducing She-Ra and everything else, I mean, she is in Grayskull. She is told, you have a brother. This is him. Here is your sword. It is one of the swords of power. It's one of the 3 swords of power, which up until that moment there was only 2. And all this other stuff. bringing Grayskull back, other than as a nod, makes things much bigger than it currently is.
Yeah, and I like that. That's partly why I have the He-Man theories, because the fact that things like Eternia and Grayskull are mentioned with the slightest hint in a flashback, but Adora has absolutely no idea what they mean. They're basically words that she knows work. She even just tries shouting it for no reason.
Yeah,
Eternia! That didn't work.
Yeah, and that's just that's where my mind goes about how big things currently are, and what link now Grayskull has with the Ancients.
Yeah, with the first ones.
Because the first ones, not the Ancients. Because the Sorceress is not the first Sorceress. The Sorceress that we know is like one in a very long line that they just keep on handing it off every 1,000 or however many years kind of thing.
Just like Final Fantasy VIII.
We do not speak of Final Fantasy VIII.
Time compression!
Let's not go there. But I actually kind of wish that we would have seen Grayskull.
You know what? I like the fact that we're given that little hint, and that we will... I don't think we need to see it yet. I do think we need to see it in Season 2.
Because really, Light Hope?
Yeah, Light Hope.
Light Hope kind of steals the Sorceress's thunder a little bit by it being, Light Hope in her palace / training center / friend killer location. It kind of just takes over the Sorceress's role as person who's supposed to exposit your reason and training and all that other stuff. So I really hope that Light Hope isn't, our version of the Sorceress / Grayskull for the She-Ra series.
That reminds me of another thing the old series had. She-Ra could turn her sword into various things. Here, we only had her turning it into a shield. In the original, she could literally say, sword, rope, and it would turn into rope. And then go back to a sword. She could make it just about anything she wanted.
And maybe her sword still has that ability.
Sure, but again, more stuff for further seasons to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic show. Folks, you can't see this, but I had a wicked cramp when we were recording, and I'm kind of laying down like a letter L on Dave's couch here. And from this position, I will tell you to go to Carlos Dave Anime Rave on the next Anime Rave.xyz. We're the best anime reaction show on the internet, and we review things and talk about things. Sometimes we don't always do reactions. Sometimes we just go over things we've seen, like She-Ra and the Princess of Power. You should watch us and listen to us and love us. What did you think of She-Ra? Let us know.
Tune in next time.
Goodbye.